On November 22, 1963, a president was murdered in front of his wife in broad daylight. 60 years and millions of declassified documents later, the full truth is still being uncovered. As you delve into the archives, you'll find that the CIA had already opened a file on Lee Harvey Oswald on December 9, 1960, after he defected to the Soviet Union, leaving you to wonder what significance this had on the events that followed. In the months leading up to the assassination, the United States and the Soviet Union were engaged in a tense diplomatic standoff, with the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 still fresh in the minds of world leaders. On September 26, 1963, the CIA reported that Oswald had visited the Cuban embassy in Mexico City, meeting with Sylvia Duran, a Mexican citizen who worked at the embassy, and you might ask, what was the purpose of this visit? The FBI, meanwhile, had been monitoring Oswald's activities since March 1963, when he ordered a rifle from Klein Sporting Goods in Chicago, using the alias, Heidel. As the president's trip to Dallas approached, the Secret Service received over 400 threats against Kennedy's life, including one from a man named Thomas Beckham, who was later deemed not to be a credible threat. On the morning of November 22, 1963, President Kennedy's motorcade set out from Love Field, following a route that took it through Dealey Plaza, where Oswald was waiting on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building, armed with a Mannlicher Carcano rifle, which he had purchased for $21.45. At 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, the president's limousine turned onto Elm Street, and Oswald fired 3 shots, hitting Kennedy in the head and neck, and Texas Governor John Connally in the chest and wrist. As the car sped away to Parkland Memorial Hospital, you might consider, what would have happened if the driver had taken a different route. The hospital's trauma team, led by Dr. Malcolm Perry, worked to save the president's life, but he was pronounced dead at 1 p.m., with the official cause of death being a gunshot wound to the head. The Warren Commission, established by President Lyndon B. Johnson on November 29, 1963, would later conclude that Oswald acted alone, but their single-bullet theory, which posits that one bullet caused multiple non-fatal injuries to Kennedy and Connally, has been contested by forensic experts, including Dr. Cyril Wecht, who has argued that the bullet wounds are inconsistent with the Commission's findings. On November 24, 1963, Jack Ruby shot and killed Oswald in the basement of the Dallas Police Department headquarters, silencing the only person who could have revealed the full extent of the conspiracy, if one existed, and you may wonder, what secrets did Ruby take to his grave? The aftermath of the assassination saw a significant shift in the national mood, with 75% of Americans believing that there was a conspiracy involved, according to a Gallup poll conducted in December 1963. The 2017 declassified files revealed that the CIA had been in contact with Oswald as early as 1959, when he was still a Marine, and had considered recruiting him as an asset, which raises questions about the agency's involvement in the events leading up to the assassination. As you examine the evidence, you might ask, how did this impact the course of American history, and what would have happened if the truth had been revealed sooner? As you reflect on the events of that fateful day, you're left with a haunting question: what would President Kennedy's legacy have been if he had lived to serve out his term? And the answer, much like the truth behind the assassination, remains a mystery that continues to intrigue and haunt us to this day.